The story begins during the Second World War in Berlin. Adolf Hitler is seen with his behavior coach, Keppel. Hitler expresses his displeasure with how people greet Keppel, lamenting that while the Nazi salute may be outdated, people should at least raise their hands to show respect. He then recounts his efforts to destroy the enemies defiling their land. Suddenly, the scene shifts, and Hitler finds himself on the ground somewhere in a forest. Looking up, he notices the absence of enemy aircraft and assumes they are resting. A ball bounces towards him, and he gets up, heading towards a building past the bushes. 3 young kids approach him, asking if he is okay. Hitler considers them the nation's future and asks for directions to the street. In the meantime, a reporter, Fabian Sawatsky, is filming the kids, capturing Hitler in the background. Hitler picks up his army cap, deciding to get to the Führer bunker. As he reaches the street, he is amazed by people riding self-balancing motorcycles. People start taking pictures of him with their phones, which confuses him. He touches a modern car and wonders if he fell into a coma and missed the victory. Realizing he needs more information, he asks a man about the location of the Reich Chancellery. However, the man is more interested in taking a photo with him. Surrounded by camera flashes, Hitler walks away, bewildered by the unusual events. He approaches a woman speaking German on her phone and asks her about the current date. Terrified, the woman sprays something into his eyes, causing him pain and blurring his vision. Stumbling, he reaches a newspaper kiosk and is shocked to see the date, October 3, 2014. He falls to the ground, overwhelmed by this revelation. Somewhere else, at a TV station, the boss, Karner, praises Christoph Sensenbrink for his excellent work as deputy head. Christoph expects a promotion, but is shocked when another worker, Miss Katja Bellini, is announced as the managing director. Upset, Christoph asks Fabian to come to his cabin in the office. Christoph then takes out his anger on Fabian, a struggling filmmaker, and fires him. Despite Fabian's pleas, he is escorted out by guards. Meanwhile, Hitler wakes up at a news shop and asks the owner about the date. When he learns it is 2014, he accuses the shopkeeper of kidnapping him and suspects an enemy trick. The shopkeeper, thinking Hitler is joking, gives him a bar of chocolate. Struggling to open it, Hitler eventually declares it industrially pressed grain and asks if there is still a bread shortage. The shopkeeper, mistaking Hitler for an actor, remarks how much he looks like the Führer. Hitler insists he is the Führer. Hitler then sees a Turkish newspaper and learns the shop has many Turkish customers. Surprising him, he reads more and realizes he didn't win the war, and Germany is now led by inept politicians. He laments the existence of Poland and concludes the war was a waste. Meanwhile, Fabian watches his video report and cries over losing his job. His mother comforts him and notices Hitler in the background of the video. Fabian is stunned by the resemblance and decides to find him. The next morning, the shopkeeper asks Hitler to put the newspaper rack outside and clean his clothes, which annoys him, but he complies. He takes his uniform to a laundry, but they don't have a replacement. He ends up wearing jeans and a sweater. Fabian finds Hitler at the shop and is amazed by his appearance. Fabian, thinking this is just a psycho who looks like Hitler, asks if he can film him traveling through modern Germany. Hitler agrees, and Fabian borrows money and a car from his mother. They set off on their journey and end up in a hotel where Hitler is fascinated by modern television. Intrigued by the current state of the world, Hitler decides to discuss politics in Fabian's film, traveling across Germany to gather people's views. He discovers that democracy has had little impact during his absence, noting a familiar discontent and anger reminiscent of the 1930s. People express concerns about immigrants, prompting Hitler to push his idea that mixing races doesn't work. Later, Fabian asks about his mustache, and Hitler explains he trims it to fit a gas mask. While visiting a farm, Hitler tries to pet a dog, but it gets upset and bites him. Angry, Hitler shoots it. Fabian scolds him and takes the gun away. As they continue their journey, they run out of cash. During a moment of the journey, Hitler mentions his skill in drawing. Inspired, Fabian convinces passersby to have their sketches drawn by Hitler, who creates sarcastic drawings that people find amusing and pay for. With enough money, they successfully end their journey and return to the town. Fabian shows Christoph a clip of Hitler, which has garnered many views online. Impressed by the video's popularity, Christoph asks for Hitler's contact information. Upon meeting Hitler, Christoph suspects he is insane and asks Fabian to remove him from the office. However, before leaving, Hitler enters the director's office. He approaches Bellini, suggesting they save Germany together. Intrigued, Bellini instructs her assistant to develop a TV format for Hitler. Fabian threatens Christoph to get his job back, or he will leave with Hitler. Christoph reluctantly makes him a kitchen boy, promising a promotion when a new editorial position opens. Hitler is given a desk at the TV studio, and Kromeyer helps him navigate the computer. Hitler compares the computers of his days and labels the invention as one of the greatest. Kromeyer tries to sign Hitler up for email, but informs him that his name is already taken. He grumbles and chooses New Reich's Chancellery instead. Christoph plans to feature Hitler on a live comedy show, Whoa Dude. He's still upset about Bellini's promotion and intends to cause trouble for her, looking to use the comedy show to create controversy with sarcastic jokes about Jews and throw out Hitler. When the show starts, Witzigmann, the host, announces Hitler and invites him onto the stage. However, during the show, Hitler ignores the script and speaks candidly about the issues of poverty and unemployment, criticizing modern television shows. His serious tone resonates with the audience, who applaud him. Bellini decides to feature Hitler on every show, much to Christoph's dismay. Hitler's popularity soars and he appears on numerous TV programs, sharing his vision to make Germany great again. He meets several influential people and party leaders, charming them with his ideas and gaining significant influence. One day, Hitler and Fabian visit the NPD headquarters in Berlin. Hitler calls for Börne, the federal chairman of the NPD, and asks what the movement has achieved so far. He criticizes Börne, claiming they have wasted time and set the movement back by decades. Börne is left speechless by Hitler's harsh words. Meanwhile, the TV studio is visited by the cops and the district attorney due to a complaint about a hate law violation. Christoph is excited, hoping this will lead to the cancellation of Hitler's show. Bellini, concerned, asks what their next step should be. Christoph quickly suggests canceling the show. However, the officer allows the broadcast to continue, and Bellini breathes a sigh of relief while Christoph fakes a smile. After the officers leave, Kromeyer hands Christoph a letter about the payment for the dog Hitler shot earlier. Christoph receives it happily, seeing it as a way to cause trouble. Hitler is then put on a TV program where he is asked direct questions about his actions during the war. The interviewer shows a clip of Hitler shooting the dog, disturbing the audience. Angered, Hitler threatens the interviewer, saying he would do the same to him and turn the studio into a parking lot for tanks. The audience is horrified, and Christoph is pleased by the negative response. This incident results in Bellini being fired and Christoph being promoted to manager. With nowhere to stay, Hitler moves in with Fabian. He starts writing his second book, and with Bellini's help, it gets published and becomes a bestseller. 3 months later, the TV studio is facing massive losses. In a meeting, Christoph is hopeful that Witzigmann's show will help them recover, but learns that Witzigmann has quit. Frustrated, Christoph gets angry at the staff. One staff member suggests bringing Hitler back, believing the public's anger will eventually fade. Christoph decides to rehire Hitler. Entering the studio, Christoph starts talking with a silicone-masked actor who looks like Fabian, deceived into thinking it was Fabian, until the real Fabian shows up. He finds Fabian working on a film based on Hitler's book and offers to invest $1 million in the film if they let the TV station broadcast it. Hitler and Fabian agree, and they visit Kromeyer's house. Kromeyer's grandmother recognizes Hitler and accuses him of gassing people to death. She calls him a criminal and shouts him to get out. In the car, Hitler expresses surprise that Kromeyer is Jewish. He starts making derogatory comments about Jews. Fabian is deeply disappointed and shocked by Hitler's words and actions. Despite the tension, they continue their journey, but Fabian's view of Hitler has irreversibly changed. Back at the studio, Fabian asks Hitler to explain how he came to be at the building past the bushes. He asks what happened before the ball came rolling towards him in the woods, but Hitler can't remember. Later that night, as Hitler leaves the studio, he is surrounded by thugs who accuse him of dragging Germany backward. They hit him hard, and when Hitler opens his eyes, he finds himself in a hospital with Bellini standing in front of him. Meanwhile, Fabian reviews the footage he captured earlier and notices a strange energy ball in the background before Hitler first appeared. Intrigued, Fabian rushes to the site and discovers a board marking the historical location of the Führer bunker. Realizing that real Hitler must have time-traveled, he hurries to the hospital but learns from Bellini that Hitler has gone back to the studio. Fabian, trying to convince Bellini that Hitler is the real Adolf Hitler, acts mad and hysterical in his explanation. She doesn't believe him and calls for the guards. The guards try to catch Fabian, but he manages to flee. At the studio, Fabian confronts Hitler with a gun, demanding to know his true identity. Hitler calmly states that he has never claimed to be anyone else. Fabian accuses Hitler of deceiving people with his propaganda. Hitler retorts that in 1933, the people elected a leader who openly shared his ideas. Fabian, growing increasingly agitated, takes Hitler to the top of a building, calling him a monster. Hitler responds that if he is a monster, then so are the people who voted for him, as they share the same values. Enraged, Fabian shoots Hitler, who falls from the building. However, Fabian soon hears Hitler's voice, declaring that no German can rid themselves of him. Shocked, Fabian sees Hitler standing behind him again. Just then, Bellini calls for a cut, and it is revealed that the entire scene was part of a film shoot, with a body double-playing Fabian. Hitler tells everyone to remember their fallen comrades. Elsewhere, Kromeyer is seen sobbing, watching Fabian through a small window in a mental ward. Meanwhile, Hitler and Bellini are busy giving autographs and interviews, celebrating the film's success. As they walk past a car, people on the street greet Hitler with respect. Hitler senses he is on the path to a political comeback, feeling more popular than ever. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for more videos like this. We've got a lot of great content coming your way. Take care and see you again.